In this video, we look at the 2023 real estate wrap-up. What's up, Casey? It's Guys here. Welcome back to another episode of Gulf Coast Investing, where we talk about all things investing right here on the Gulf Coast. I would love if you would consider subscribing to my channel and liking this video for more great content just like this. So I want to break down in this video what the final numbers are for the 2023 real estate market. I made a couple videos in the past previous weeks and months talking about, what was my prediction for the 2023 real estate market. So you can go back and check that out, see where a lot of things I was right in, maybe not in the interest rate category, but as far as what the market was going to do for pricing and things like that. So the Baldwin Realtors Association just has released some numbers that actually show us what did the 2023 real estate market do, and how does that compare to 2022, and then kind of some ideas of where I think we're already heading in 2024 based on January's data for 2024. So the year-over-year report is pretty interesting. I actually saw, before I get into just Baldwin County, I saw a report that came out today from the Alabama Association of Realtors, and it literally showed that volume was down almost $1 billion. It was down almost 50% for the whole state of Alabama. Sales prices were slightly up, but volume and transactions, the amount of homes and condos and all those listings actually sold, was down almost 40% in the state of Alabama in 2023. So that was just crazy, and it's literally exactly what we saw, very similar in the Baldwin County market. So just kind of give you a glimpse on things. So first thing that's kind of interesting is the average days on market. So as everybody remembers, during the COVID years, you would put a house on the market, seller would put a house on the market, you'd have 55 showings in one day, you'd have 25 offers, and it was just a bidding war. So your days on market were just a couple days. Now that would kind of average out because you did have some older listings and things with problems, and it may take 30 to 60 days for them to go under contract. But 2022, the average days on market was 33. So that's about average, about 1 month, so about 4 weeks for showings and things like that, before that listing would get an offer and go under contract. In 2023, the average days on market was 59. So that's an 80% increase of days on market. So that's one of the biggest things that, as you have probably seen, my neighbor's house right across the road, one of them about 3 years ago, again, same thing. Sign goes in the yard, it goes on the market, literally the next day it's under contract. It was that quick. My other neighbor now, they've had a sign in the yard for about 3 months. It's just sitting there. It has not sold. So that's right in line, about 2 month average that a house is sitting on the market before it's actually going under contract. So an 80% increase in days on market, that's just pretty crazy. So another thing that we saw a huge drop in is the amount of total properties that actually sold. So the actual properties was about 20% down. So 2022, we had just over 8,000 properties that actually were sold in Baldwin County. In 2023, we had under 7,000 that were sold in Baldwin County. So it's a 17.5% decrease in the amount of listings sold. So some people would make you think, okay, well, is that a supply and demand issue? The supply went down. If the demand stayed up, then you would think prices would rise and things like that. But obviously, with interest rates and things like that we've seen, the supply came down, but also the demand has gone down as well. So it's kind of evened out. But the average sales price did go up about 5%. So Baldwin County 2022, the average sales price was about $470,000. 2023, it is just short of $500,000 for the average sales price. So again, that is due to your supply and demand. So your supply has gone down, but the demand isn't quite as down as the supply is down. The demand is still slightly higher than supply. So that, of course, is going to keep the prices going up. And so, having about a 5% increase in prices is pretty good. That means even if you bought a house in 2022 and you paid at a premium price, you still saw an appreciation of your property value of about 5%. Now, it'll be interesting to see last year's data compared to this year's and kind of see where we're at as far as that supply and demand. Looking at some of the January numbers, we are starting to see prices from 23 to 24 drop. So that's where, that equity isn't going to be as big as it was. Obviously, if you bought a house in 2019, you sold it in 2021, you may have 100% equity. It may have doubled or tripled what you paid for it. So we saw that come way down from 50% down to 5% for last year. And that number's probably going to come down even more, but that'll be something interesting to watch. So kind of the last thing is sales volume. So this is, you take all the properties that are sold and the price, how much real estate actually closed, what was the volume. We had almost, it was 3.9, almost $4 billion of sales volume that actually sold in the Baldwin County market in 2022. 2023, we got way close, 3.3 billion, so almost 3 billion. So we saw it was about a 15% drop in sales volume. So obviously, like I said, prices are higher, but the amount of inventory actually selling is lower. So that's what brought the overall price lower. So kind of interesting to look at, when we look at those market trends of where things are going, you can really see that slowdown in volume. So kind of interesting to see where we were at and where we shaped out to with 2023. So I just got released, just have in my hands the January numbers. I know we are getting into March and April now, so this is interesting to see what January looked like. So this is real interesting because we're looking at 2023 compared to now 2024 numbers and what that looked like in January. So your first one is going to be your average sales price. So your average sales price in Baldwin breaks it out into two different areas. You have the traditional and you have the resort or the island or the destination vacation investment style of condos, houses, and things like that. So Baldwin County in a whole is having a huge increase in population. So you can tell that by the residential numbers. So the average sales price in the traditional market, so this is just residential homes, people that are moving down to the area, is about $375,000. So that's up about 2% compared to January of 2023. So January 2024, your average sales price, it went up. So that's good that you're still seeing the appreciation. The big difference is in the resort, the condo market. And that is, again, a lot of those are investors that are buying to rent out as investment properties. Those sales price actually went down about 2%. I know I've covered some certain complexes like Gold Shores Plantation and things like that, where it may be down 20 or 30%. Some buildings that are real desirable, and they don't have a lot of work and all that being done, they've actually gone up in value. So overall, it was an average of down about 2% in the investment market. So again, hopefully as interest rates start to come down and things like that throughout this year in 2025, the prices, level off some, and there'll be some good deals for you as an investor to come out and get. The next was the average days on market. So the average days on market for January was 69 days on market. So again, we just talked about the average for all of Baldwin County is 59 days on market for last year. This year, it's gone up even more, and it's about 69% for your average days on market. So again, that is condos and houses that are just not selling as fast. They're sitting on the market. There's more of them. There's a lot more supply. The demand is not there as much. So kind of crazy. Huge change on the traditional, on the residential side. Average days on market was 60. That's up about 15% from January 2023 to January 2024. So that goes back to what I was saying earlier about my house where I live. The neighbors 2 years ago, it literally sold in one day. Now I've had a sign, in the neighbor's yard for about 3 months. Shows right here in these numbers, it's gone up about 15%. So that's kind of crazy there. So next one is closed sales. So in the traditional market in January, we closed in Baldwin County 287 houses, condos, I think this also factors in land and things like that. So there was 287 real estate deals that closed. That was up about 2%, and that was on the traditional side of things. We have a ton of new construction and things like that that are being sold right now. So that new construction is helping kind of keep the supply up for the demand of all the people moving down into the area. Big difference here was for that island, the traditional, when you're on the island looking for an investment property and things like that, closed sales was 112. So that's down about 17%. So that goes back to what I was saying is, again, you got insurance assessments and you have work being done and things like that. the demand has definitely gone down, and that shows right there with the closed volume being down about 17% in 2024 compared to how many closed in 2023. So that's kind of the trends to me, kind of what are my thoughts and wrap up on things. Like I said, we saw, at the beginning of the video, we talked about 2022 compared to 2023 and how, we had a decrease in so many different areas. Prices stayed up a little bit, but days on market increased. The average sales volume, it decreased between 22 and 23. And now we're seeing the first numbers of 2024. So what does 2023 look like compared to 2024? And we are seeing just more of that cooling is what we would call it in our area, the cooling of the real estate market. The traditional side, people looking just to live down here, buy a house, things like that. It's pretty steady. I'd say that's actually above national average, and that's because we have so many people that want to move into our cities and things like that. But on the investment side of things, on the island side of real estate, we had seen a big cooling because, again, 2024 being less than 2023 is kind of crazy because 2023 was less than 2022. So, if we were able to pull 22 versus 24, you would see a massive drop off in the in the demand, and an increase in supply and days on market on the investment side of things. So I think that will continue to lead to prices coming down a little bit more and things like that. So that's something that I'm kind of looking at in the real estate market. I do think on the investment side that prices are going to continue to come down some. Will greatly help if insurance is able to come down, if we get some more insurance carriers in the market, make that a little bit more competitive. Insurance comes down, the assessments start to level off over the next couple years as people are still catching up with, 30-year, when you hit that 25, 30-year mark for condos that just routine maintenance needs to be done. Work from Hurricane Sally that's catching up, that's still getting finished off. Once all that gets done, prices come down a little. It'd be perfect for interest rates to start dropping by the end of this year and next year. And I think you'll really start seeing a pickup in the investment side of the real estate market down here in Baldwin County. So that's kind of my thoughts. Kind of cool to see the numbers and stats of 22 compared to 23 and now 23 compared to 24. Let me know if you have any questions or get your thoughts on what you think the real estate market is doing. And if you have any questions, just let me know. We'd love to help you out and answer those. So again, hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.